What's going on, y'all? We are back with another NFL draft positional video today, and today we got the edge rushers. Like yesterday, I'm going to start shortening the videos up, so if you have any questions about guys 21 through 35, feel free to ask them in the comments, and I will happily answer. But for the sake of y'all's time and my time, we're going to go ahead and review the top 20, starting off with players 16 through 20, which would be number 16 is going to be Anthony Lucas out of USC. Romello Height out of Texas Tech, Jayshon Barham, Michigan, Kieran Crawford, Auburn, and then Nigel Kelly out of UCF. And Kelly is someone I got to really late in this circle, but overall, you just look at the numbers. He's 6'5, 256 pounds. He's only 21. The hands and arms are ridiculous. He really jumped very good with the 37-inch vertical. The 119 broad's not bad. Like overall, he just tested really well. So considering a lot of the players under him are significantly older, I think there is a lot to like with this players. I mean, 26 pressures, 3 sacks, that won't blow you away, but the overall win rate was pretty good at 13.7%. And then the true was up to 20. He got you 26 stops and only missed 14% of his tackles. I think for a guy that is built as well as Kelly is, and considering in his age, this is a guy I feel pretty good taking a shot on day three with a draft pick. I'll also say I like Michael Kamara and Caden Curry a lot. The Kamara just missed for the sake of he was one spot off and he's 3 years older. And Caden Curry really dropped for me because of the overall arm size is up there with Cassius Howell, who we'll talk about in a little bit for the overall shortest in the class, which is also like the shortest in 25 years. So it's kind of hard to say, oh, yeah, he'll be successful when really a lot of edge rushers have not been able to do the same, especially people that are like day three talents, opposed to Howe, who was a top 10 player probably in the nation this past year. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and jump to number 19 with Kieran Crawford out of Auburn. Kieran Crawford, I think, is just a very good overall rounded player. I mean, he's not the biggest guy in the world, but he has the size. He didn't test out at the combine. He's not world's greatest athlete, anyways, but he was very effective for Auburn this past season with 43 pressures. He had a 25% true win rate. He got you 22 stops, so he's not the worst run defender. He does need to improve in his overall tackling. 25% nearly of missed tackles is just way too much for a spot you like. But yeah, Kieran Crawford can come in, be a contributor in a rotation. So probably a player I feel good about taking in the top 150. And really, from 20 to 1, they are all top 150 players. So yeah, Crawford and Kelly are both players I don't mind taking a shot in the fourth or fifth round. 18 and 17 will talk together because I think they are very similar in the sense of Jayshon Barham and Romello Height because they kind of give me both the same questions because they are very undersized edge rushers. They both sort of lack arm length, like it's not the worst in the world. Height is really like to me a Frankie Louvu-esque player in the sense he can play off-ball linebacker and be an effective, blitzer at the same time. So he's just one that I think you just got to cut him loose and let him be him. And he is an older prospect. That's another reason he's down here at 17, even though he was such a good player. But yeah, I worry about overall position. Like, I don't think either of them can be much more than a DPR at the NFL level. They are both pretty athletic. Height is definitely the better athlete. Height was definitely, certainly the better player playing alongside David Bailey with 62 pressures, 9 sacks, over a 22% win rate, 28 true win rate, 27 stops. But yeah, overall, I think at the NFL level, both of these guys will struggle to stop the run a ton. But like I said, if you can use them in a certain way, and obviously they are best fitted for a 3-4 defense, that should be very clear with how they are built. I mean, I like both. I like Romello Height to me significantly more. It just so happens they're back to back in the same style of player to talk about. But Height's probably a good 20, 30 spots higher on my big board. So Height is definitely the better player. I would probably consider taking Height in the top 100. Barham to me, I'd take probably in the fourth round. So that is going to be my 17 and 18. And in a sense of talking with people in a tier, I think Anthony Lucas and LT Overton absolutely have to be talked about together because they're kind of similar in a sense of they can be versatile, especially LT. LT is like a Keldrick Falk to where you can play him anywhere and it kind of will just work because of how good of a run defender he is. The only problem is Alabama couldn't figure that out. Alabama put him in the worst spots possible for him. He's not the world's greatest athlete. Like, he's not as good as an athlete as like a Keldrick Falk. Both these guys are super young though, 21 years old. I believe they're both in my top 100, and if not, they're literally probably 5 to 10 spots right off of it, off the top of my mind. But they are both built well. The size profiles are great at 6'3", 278, and 6'5", 267. Anthony Lucas was by far the more effective pass rusher in college with a over 9% true win rate higher than Overton and nearly a 4% win rate, just natural over Overton as well. But I would also say Overton was a significantly better run defender. And like I said, he's more versatile. And LT Overton had that first round pedigree entering the year. So that kind of does hold some water to me of like clearly we all saw what we saw a year ago, and I get a lot was projection that he'd take another step up and all what could he be 3 years from now. But I still believe that in a sense. I just don't think Alabama knew really what to do with LT for some reason this past year. So Anthony Lucas and LT will be 16 and 15. Number 14 for me is going to be Deny Dennis Sutton out of Penn State. Deny Dennis Sutton is a very intriguing prospect in a sense that you look how he's built, you look at the arm and hand size, you look at the overall athleticism with nearly a 40-inch vertical, 130 broad jump, 6'9" three cone, a overall 4'6", 40-yard dash. Like, he is a very, very good athlete, arguably the best athlete in the draft up there, in my opinion, with Malachi Lawrence off the edge. So there's a lot to work with. I just think his overall pass rush game is very underdeveloped, and he kind of just wants to plow through you using his size. I don't know if that'll work with him so good because I wouldn't say he has elite strength by any means. So Deny is definitely someone I'm firmly taking in the third round. I probably don't take in the top 64, but around top 75 range. Like, I think if the Saints pass on pass rush twice, at 73, to me, they feel like a perfect fit for a player Denies skill set with like a Brandon Staley. And overall, like, he wasn't bad by any means. Like, 50 pressures is good, 8 sacks is nice. A 21% true win rate is solid. 29 defensive stops is good. I would say he is pretty good as a run defender opposed to a pass rusher. But like I said, if you're taking someone top 64, you probably have some type of hope that they already have a pass rush bag unless their name is like Keldrick Falk, which I mean, I got like that's kind of unfair. Like, Keldrick Falk really can. We'll talk about Keldrick Falk when it's time to talk about him. So let's not get off topic, I guess. All right, number 13 and 12. I know this is probably going to be a shocker to a lot of y'all, but 13 is going to be our Mason Thomas, and 12 for me is going to be Joshua Josephs. It really comes down to overall size. The threshold you like an edge rusher to be at is 33 inches on the arms. Our Mason Thomas is 31 and 5/8, so he is pretty severely undersized. Both of them are very light at 240. The part you like about Joseph's, though, at 240 is he has those big, long arms. He has that long frame. Joseph's, I think, can add 15 pounds easily, and it'll look perfectly fine on him. Our Mason Thomas, I don't really feel the same way about. He's already pretty undersized at 6'2", and like I said, with the arm length problems, both of them were really effective pass rushers this past season. I mean, really, they both struggled defending the run, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, I don't really see like I would say R. Mason Thomas definitely has a deeper tool bag because Joseph's kind of just wins with his bend and his overall speed off the edge. So R. Mason Thomas is definitely a more developed pass rusher. But when statistically they're looking about the same, the level of competition isn't too different. Joshua Josephs has a better frame and is more athletic. I think I'd rather take a shot on a guy like Josephs over Thomas, who I think is very physically limited as a player, but could very well be an effective DPR option at the NFL level. So they will come in at 13 and 12. Number 11 for me is going to be Gabe Akis out of Illinois. Gabe Akis is a freight train, man. I think his playing weight was closer to 275 than his combine weight at 260. The arm length is solid. He is very powerful. 30 reps on the bench really kind of, I mean, what you see on film is what you saw on the bench. Like, he definitely just has that brute force and can put his head down and just go through defenders. I kind of worry about his overall pass rush toe bag. Like, he doesn't really do much outside of a bull rush as of right now, but he did look pretty good at the Senior Bowl, so I also want to give him love for that. 41 pressures and 12 sacks was fantastic. He's not a bad run defender at all. 28 stops. Like I said, he just has to develop, like a lot of these guys, more with their pass rush tool bag more than anything. Because right now he's kind of like denied Dennis Sutton in terms of he wants to put his head down and go through you. Except I think there's a lot more power in Gabe Backus' game than there is in Sutton. So that's why he gets a nod over players like Thomas and Josephs. All right, time for the top 10 edge rushers in the NFL draft. And 10 is probably going to make some of y'all mad. Just hear me out. Hear me out. 10 is going to be Cassius Howe out of Texas A&M. And I know you don't watch college football, bro. Cassius Howe is one of the best pass rushers in the country. You don't know it, you're an idiot. Yeah, y'all got to understand something. Once you hit the NFL draft, your stats go to zero. So while you should acknowledge what a player has done in college, it's not the end all be all if he was one of the most productive edge rushers. Especially, like I said, he has the shortest arms we've seen from a top edge rusher prospect. And when I say top, like a guy that's probably going in the first two rounds, he has the shortest arms we have seen in over 26 years. The threshold's already about like 31 and 4/8 for like maybe they can be successful. He's far under it at 30 and a fourth. So overall arms are short. Obviously the wingspan's bad as well. The part I do like about how that definitely gets a big bump for me is he is pretty athletic and it reflected in the 10-yard split in the overall 40 time. He's got great bend off the edge and he is very compact and has a good bit of power in his hands too. So I think that is why Cassius Howe to me will be a really successful DPR at the NFL level. But in terms of getting a three down contributor, I don't see it. Cassius Howe, the game that really stuck out to me that ended me with Cassius Howe at the 10th overall ranking was the game against Notre Dame. That's one of the best running attacks in college football. That's what I was kind of looking to see because we all know he's a great pass rusher. What can he do against a top run game? I'm telling you right now, go turn on the film. It becomes very evident in the second half that Notre Dame is searching for where Cassius Howe is, and they are running to his side every time. He is not a good run defender. That can change. He can develop. But I think with the overall size profile, it's not very likely. So to me, I see just a DPR at the NFL level. That kind of worries me in a sense. That's why he lands number 10. But I do think he's a way more developed and better DPR than players like Josephs and R. Mason Thomas, in my opinion. All right, number 9 for me is going to be, and I'm going to talk about number 8 as well, because once again, another tier for me. It's going to be Malachi Lawrence and Derek Moore. Both of them are top 50 players on my big board, both top 45 for that matter. And I believe they're literally back to back on my board. They're both built pretty similar. Lawrence is an inch taller, but a couple pounds lighter. Arm length, they both have good long arms. Derek Moore's are longer. Malachi Lawrence, to me, is certainly the better athlete. Like I said, for my money, Malachi Lawrence is the best athlete in the class off the edge. So, yeah, I mean, just a player with a pretty good frame. He's got those lengthy arms. He's a really good run defender. He is not a really good, I guess I'll dial that back. Derek Moore is certainly a better run defender than Lawrence. But yeah, I mean, he's definitely not someone that gets searched for like, oh, where's Malachi Lawrence? We're running to his side. Like he is overall just a good player, but I think when you factor in his size and athleticism, maybe that good player can turn into a top 10 edge rusher in the league. So that's why I like Lawrence a lot. Derek Moore's fantastic, in my opinion. He's got the overall size. He is a great run defender, but he also grabbed 11 sacks this past year. Let's just go ahead and show you all the numbers, which I feel like this isn't talked about. Okay, Cassius Howe has the same amount of pressures, but he got more sacks. That's cool. Overall win rate, they're exactly the same. A true win rate, Malachi Lawrence and Derek Moore are significantly better. So to me, like that kind of holds water. Stops, they're in a similar boat, but like I said, I feel like Cassius Howe gets hunted out in the run game, opposed to they don't do that to Derek Moore and Malachi Lawrence. And I think Moore and Lawrence can work in multiple types of schemes. So that also is really valuable to me, opposed to a guy like Howe, like I said, that is a DPR probably for a 3-4 system. And this isn't Cassius Howe hate. He is still a top 50 player to me. I believe he's number like 47 on my big board. And Lawrence and Moore are like 40, maybe 44 and 45. So they're not terribly apart. I just see a lot more upside with taking Derek Moore and Malachi Lawrence. And no matter the situation, I would take them before Cassius Howe off the board. All right, the man of the hour. Let's talk about him. Keldrick Falk at 7. To some people, this will probably be low. To a lot of people, it'll probably be way too high. I feel like I'm in a good medium because I can see what Keldrick Falk is. And Shamar Stewart has really set a bad measuring stick based on he was a similar prospect. Way underdeveloped, though, not nearly as good as a run defender, and similar pass rush problems, except Shamar had no production and went 17th overall. Keldrick Falk, at least last year, had 7 sacks, so you can at least point to that. But let's look at Keldrick Falk for what he is. He's 6'6, he's 276 pounds. His playing weight was around 280, 285. So he can play outside, he can play inside. He is a very versatile piece. I would go to say he is the most versatile piece off the edge outside of maybe Arvell Reese, who is also an off the ball linebacker. But in terms of defensive line, Keldrick Falk is by far the most versatile player on the defensive line class in this year. His arms are very long, 34 and 3/8. That's amazing. The wingspan's long. The vertical is good for someone being 276 pounds. The broad was good. And I think the most important thing before we look at the numbers, the overall age. Keldrick Falk is 20 years old. He's younger than me, which that I'm not a draft prospect, but like I'm saying, like I'm sitting here doing these videos for y'all. This dude's younger than me. Keldrick Falk doesn't turn 21 till September. So it's like this dude being a couple months younger to me just is kind of crazy to me. And especially when you considered he did give you some pass rush production as a 19-year-old playing at Auburn. So it's like I think the hate is way over, like, it's way overdone. 29 pressures isn't a terrible number, like I said, for his age. 2 sacks is obviously not ideal, but a season ago he got 7. So it's just a thing with kind of the Auburn scheme. It doesn't lead to a lot of sacks. Kieran Crawford was a great pass rusher, only walked away with 5 this past season. So I want to throw that out there. The win rate isn't terribly bad. Like 10% is obviously not ideal, but it's not like a brutal number. The 17% true win rate, yes, it's lower. It's not a brutal number, but then he gets 23 stops, but also only has a 10% missed tackle rate off the edge, which is one of the better in the whole class, as you can see with everybody under him and the people you'll see above have higher missed tackle rates than him. So if you can take Keldrick Falk for what he is right now, and that is a very big, young, athletic run stopper that you're hoping to develop as a pass rusher, I don't mind taking a shot on him in the first round. He is in a first round grade for me. He's like 36 on my big board. But I understand why teams are going to take a shot on him because if you get him in a system where he actually develops, this dude might be one of the best football players in the league, just overall based on how damn big he is, how strong he is, his overall athleticism, how good he defends the run. He is literally missing one thing, a pass rush game. And I get that's a pretty big thing to miss. But like he's pretty close. Like he is closer than what a lot of y'all think. All right, number 6, we'll go ahead and talk about is the complete polar opposite of Keldrick Falk, funny enough, with Akeem Mesidor. Akeem Mesidor is a really polished player, 6'3", 260 pounds. I believe he played closer to like 275 for Miami this past year. Lost weight for the combine. The arms are a little bit shorter. He is a very much older prospect. He'll be 25 by the time next season starts. Hell, he might have already turned 25. I don't know off the top of my head. But Akeem Mesidor is a very polished football player, but he should be for considering his age. But another thing, if you know if you can take what Akeem Mesidor is and just accept it, I think you'll be a lot happier. The guy you draft on draft night isn't going to get much better than what the guy you'll have 3 years from now. He could get better, but not much better, in my opinion. But he's already a very pro-ready player. He can defend the run at a high level. He's a great pass rusher. He had 67 pressures, 13 sacks this past year, over a 20% true win rate. He had over a 36% true win rate, which I believe is the second highest in the class behind Nomini Tucker, who's 26 years old already. So I want to take that into consideration. 29 stops off the edge. Like I said, Akeem Mesidor is a very pro-ready player, and I think for a team that wants to win now, maybe like the Chargers, the Buccaneers, the Chiefs, the Bills, even potentially, even with Bradley Chubb. It will work. I can promise you that. Like, it will work. I just don't see a reason why a team like the Dolphins, even the Cowboys, you can throw in that tier with like the Bucks and those teams. But a team like the Dolphins would be my first instinct as a Dolphin fan, and obviously having a huge need off the edge. Don't take him. He doesn't fit your window. Like he's probably going to be a one contract type of player. Maybe he plays 6 or 7 years in the NFL. No joke intended. But like if he's really good for 6 or 7 years, I don't think that's really an issue. Especially when some of these guys, like potentially Keldrick Falk or Joshua Josephs or Denied into Sutton or LT Overton, maybe they're never good to be like at all at the NFL level. So I think that's a word like he's a very safe player in my opinion, and he is a first round grade. All right, number 5, I definitely prefer over Akeem Mesidor, would be TJ Parker. Similar frame. I would say Mesidor, like I said, plays at a heavier weight actually during football season, but Parker's 4 years younger. His arms are longer. He's a better athlete, in my opinion. And for this being a down year, this is a pretty damn good down year for 42 pressures, 6 sacks, a nearly 29% true win rate, 22 stops. And like I said, for Parker, at his young age, this was a down year for him. Last year, he was way better than this, had more pressures, had like 11 sacks. The win rate was higher. And the thing you might say is, okay, why do you have a down year? In my opinion, system. The Clemson defensive line system sucked. CJ Parker didn't play good. Peter Woods didn't. Demonte Capehart didn't play good. The whole defensive line struggled. System. And especially because I watched TJ Parker go to the Senior Bowl, and the dude utterly dominated the whole time he was there. So I like TJ Parker. I'd probably be willing to take TJ Parker near the top 20, but he is going to finish as my 5th overall edge rusher. Number 4 is very close for Parker, but it's going to be Zion Young out of Missouri. I'm a big time Zion Young fan. I think he's one of the most slept on prospects in the draft. 6'5, 262, great size. The arm length's good. The overall athleticism, I do think Zion Young definitely lacks him, but it's not the worst. But overall, this dude is just a really, really, really good player. I mean, he got you 57 pressures on the year, 8 sacks, over a 25% true win rate. The natural win rate was higher than Parker's at 17%. But he's also one of the best run defenders off the edge in the class with 31 run stops, 15% missed tackle rate. It can improve, but still not a bad number. Zion Young for me certainly is a top 20 player. It's someone I'm a lot higher on, and I could be wrong or I could look like a genius. It's going to go one of two ways, in my opinion. But yeah, like I said, just for how polished his game is, and he actually has a tool bag as a pass rusher. He has multiple moves he can go to: the spin, the bull rush, the swipe. Like he has a pass rush game, and he utilizes all of it. He looked really good at the Senior Bowl, probably the best pass rusher at the Senior Bowl, up there with Parker. Funny enough that they're 4 and 5 for me. But yeah, he's also a dominant run defender. Like you can't wash him out of the run game. He is always going to be an impact player off the edge in the run. And also, I think he could be nearly a 10 sack type of guy off the edge. So it's like, I think Zion Young's a really good player. Like I said, I have a top 20 grade. I would consider taking him. I'd probably take him 15th overall for the Bucks personally. I know that sounds crazier, pretty crazy, but I'm going to put my word and my truth out there. That's how much I like Zion Young. Number 3 for me is going to be David Bailey out of Texas Tech. David Bailey, it sounds like, is going 2nd overall. So the fact he's my 3rd edge rusher might be kind of nuts. Probably not to a lot of y'all. I feel like we all agree in the draft community world that Ruben Bain and Arvell Reese are better. Now, granted, David Bailey's 7 on my board. Reese and Ruben Bain are 4 and 6. I'm not going to tell you the order. You'll see in a second. You might have a hint off the thumbnail. But yeah, David Bailey, 6'3", 250 pounds. The arms are long. He tested really good running a 4.5. The broad jump was insane. We already knew that stuff. He's by far the most developed pass rusher in the class. I don't even think it's close. He had 15 sacks this past year. 81 pressures is just an insane number. Over a 21% win rate, nearly a 40% true win rate. 40 stops as a run defender is kind of crazy because I feel like if you really analyze the tape, he struggles as a run defender. So it kind of is shocking that he has that many stops. And their season, Texas Tech season, was longer than some teams. But like I said, he was arguably one of the most productive players in the nation this past season. He was the best player on one of the best defenses in the nation at Texas Tech. So yeah, he is a very good player, and that's why he's 7th overall on my big board. And if the Jets want to take him number 2, honestly, Reese and Bailey are the like Bain doesn't fit a 3-4 system, which the Jets are going to run this year. And if you're trying to keep your jobs, like I can't really blame you for taking David Bailey. He is by far the most polished pass rusher in the class. So if you're trying to get the quarterback on the ground, then yeah, I probably would take David Bailey. Now, granted, my number 2 guy, who is Arvell Reese, I think the ceiling is just a little more higher because they're similar size. Bailey's got 10 pounds on him. I think Reese will probably add weight as he goes to the NFL. But overall, Reese is a better athlete. He's 2 years younger. He is a significantly better run defender, in my opinion. Even playing off ball linebacker, he was a better run defender than what Bailey was. And then on his time at the edge, he was a better run defender. But there's just so much upside with Arvell Reese. Honestly, he reminds me a lot of Abdul Carter. Granted, I thought Abdul Carter was better than Reese last year. Or I'd probably have Abdul as my number one overall edge, even over Ruben Bain in this year's class. I loved Abdul Carter. But like I said, Reese was just a machine, and especially considering how athletic he is and how young he is. A 27% true win rate's nuts, 34 stops against the run, a 6% missed tackle rate. Dude was just an utter monster. And now that you know Ruben Bain is my number one edge rusher, like I said, Bailey is 7, Reese is 6, and Ruben Bain is 4 on my big board. So it really is pick your poison. Although my number one, I do think is better in definitely, in my opinion, by far the best edge rusher in the class. That's gonna be Ruben Bain. I'm not gonna talk about the legal troubles. It's not, there really are no legal troubles. The case got dropped. He just made a bad decision. Someone unfortunately lost their life. He's not facing any legal consequences. Rest in peace to the person that lost their life, but there's not much you can do. And he seems like a really good dude in my opinion. Like every time you interview him, all he talks about football, football, football. I don't care about anything. I want to play football. And I love that out of an edge rusher. 6'2", 263 pounds. I think the playing weight's closer to 275. He's definitely better fit for a 4-3 defense. That's why I think the Chiefs are such a perfect fit for him off the edge. But I mean, overall, he's not the best athlete in the world, but he probably has the best overall strength off the edge in the class. And the numbers reflect that. 83 pressures, 12 sacks, had a better win rate than David Bailey. Granted, the true win rate wasn't as good. He got a ton of stops up there for the ton of up there with the highest in the class. And like I said, David Bailey being at 40, like I didn't know that number off the top of my head. It really doesn't change how I feel about David Bailey. Like I really think he is an underdeveloped run defender. Ruben Bain, there's really not a flaw in his game other than his arms are short. And so far, that's had no effect to him. So he is definitely going to end as my overall edge one as of this video. And it's really been that way the whole draft cycle. But yeah, man, I will be back tomorrow with my linebacker rankings. Let me know what y'all think about the edge rankings and any questions on 21 through 35. And yeah, feel free to ask, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace out.